She used to believe love announced itself, that it arrived loudly, confidently, with grand gestures and promises spoken too early and too often. She believed love was something that made sure everyone knew it was there, something dramatic, something impossible to miss. That belief came from years of disappointment, from men who talked too much and meant too little, from relationships that burned bright and died fast, from learning, over time, how to protect her heart by pretending she didn't care. Then she met him, and nothing about him fit the picture she had built in her mind. He didn't flirt. He didn't impress. He didn't chase. He stood quietly in the corner of a crowded room, watching more than speaking, listening more than reacting. His presence wasn't loud, but it was heavy, like gravity. Like if you stood too close for too long, you'd feel pulled in without knowing why. They met on an ordinary evening, the kind that doesn't feel important until you look back years later and realize everything changed right there. She was exhausted that day, not just physically but emotionally, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. She had been carrying responsibilities that weren't hers, healing wounds she didn't cause, pretending strength because no one else would do it for her. She almost didn't go out that night, but she did, and he held the door open. That was it. That was the beginning. No sparks, no dramatic eye contact, just a simple, respectful gesture, and a smile that didn't ask for anything in return. They talked about nothing important, about everything important, about the things people only say when they're not trying to impress. He didn't interrupt her, didn't finish her sentences, didn't pretend to understand things he didn't. When she laughed, he didn't look proud. He looked relieved, like something inside him had finally relaxed. They didn't exchange promises. They didn't define anything. They just kept finding reasons to be in the same place at the same time. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into late nights. Late nights turned into quiet mornings where nothing was said, but everything was understood. She noticed things, how he always positioned himself between her and the street, how his eyes scanned rooms automatically, how his phone buzzed often, but he never checked it when she was talking, how he listened with his whole body, not just his ears. There was something dangerous about him, not violent, controlled. And control, she would later learn, is far more terrifying than chaos. He told her the truth earlier than she expected, not the full truth, but enough. His world wasn't clean, his hands weren't innocent, his power didn't come from luck or talent, it came from decisions most people wouldn't survive making. He didn't glorify it, didn't dramatize it. He said it plainly, like someone confessing a fact, not a sin. "You should walk away," he told her one night, "before you care too much." She looked at him for a long time, and stayed, because when he touched her, she felt safe. Not in the way people usually mean it, not protected from pain, not shielded from reality, but safe to be honest, safe to be quiet, safe to exist without performing. That kind of safety is addictive. She didn't realize how deeply she was falling until she imagined losing him, and that scared her more than his world ever could. Loving him meant accepting uncertainty, canceled plans, nights alone, silences that stretched longer than comfort allowed. She learned not to ask questions that could get answers neither of them wanted. She learned how to wait without demanding, how to love without ownership. And he tried. God, he tried. He showed up when he could. He remembered details no one else ever did. He held her during storms and nightmares. He told her, quietly, that she was the only thing in his life that didn't feel like a transaction. "You're real," he said once, forehead pressed to hers. "Everything else is just survival." That's when she knew. She loved him, not recklessly, not blindly, completely. And loving a man like him meant understanding that the world he lived in would never fully make room for her. That danger didn't announce itself. That loss could come without warning. Still, she never expected him to disappear. It happened on a night that started like any other. A kiss at the door, a promise to be back before morning, a look in his eyes that lingered just a second too long, like he wanted to memorize her face. She didn't think anything of it. She went to sleep and woke up alone. No text, no call, no explanation. She told herself not to panic. He was late sometimes. Things came up. His world was unpredictable. She tried to be patient. She tried to be understanding. But the hours passed. Then the night. Then the next day. His phone went straight to silence. She reached out to people she barely knew, people connected to him, people who had once smiled politely and now wouldn't meet her eyes. Doors closed softly. Conversations ended quickly. No one told her anything. It was like he had vanished, like he had never existed at all. The fear came later. At first it was confusion, then anger, then grief. She searched every memory for signs she missed, every word for hidden meaning, every touch for a goodbye she didn't recognize at the time. She blamed herself for loving too deeply, for trusting too completely, for believing that someone like him could choose her and keep choosing her. She waited longer than she should have. Every sound outside made her heart race. Every unfamiliar car slowed her breath. Every knock at the door felt like it could be him, or the worst news imaginable. Nothing came. Weeks turned into months. She stopped talking about him because people stopped asking. She learned how to smile through conversations, while something inside her stayed frozen in time. She cried in places no one would hear her. She slept on his side of the bed just to feel closer to something that no longer existed. The not knowing was torture. Was he dead? Was he alive? Had he left her? Had she been a mistake? She never got answers, and eventually survival demanded something from her. Letting go. Not because she stopped loving him, but because holding on was killing her. Years passed. She rebuilt herself slowly, carefully. She learned how to exist without waiting, how to plan without considering his unpredictable schedule, how to laugh without immediately thinking of him. But she never erased him. Some loves don't fade. They just go quiet. Then, one afternoon, everything broke open again. She felt it before she saw him, that familiar pull, that sudden awareness, that sense of being seen. She turned, and there he was. Time had changed him, hardened his edges, etched regret into his face. But his eyes, those eyes, were the same. For a moment, neither of them moved. Years collapsed into seconds. He said her name like it hurt. She forgot how to breathe. They sat together like strangers, sharing a past too heavy to lift. His hands shook when he spoke. Her voice nearly failed her. "I didn't leave you," he said. And finally, the truth came out. A deal gone wrong. Enemies who discovered his weakness was her. A choice made in seconds that cost him years. Disappearing was the only way to keep her alive. Erasing himself was the only way to protect her. "I watched you," he admitted, "from afar. Every year. I wanted to come back every single day." Tears blurred her vision. "You broke me," she said. "I know," he whispered, "and I'd do it again if it meant you lived." They didn't touch. Love was still there, but so was the damage, and in that moment she understood something she never had before. Love isn't loud. It doesn't always stay. Sometimes it sacrifices itself. Sometimes it walks away so someone else can survive. She didn't know if they would find their way back, but she knew this. What they had was real, and real love changes you forever, even when it doesn't last.